that presentation.
10 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
The gentleman from Washington State is recognized for 10 minutes.
Thank you, sir. And in a gesture of reaching across the aisle, let us be clear that prior to this bill's arrival at the Rules Committee, it was Mr. Pittenger and myself who worked in a collaborative and a bipartisan way, hard for nearly the last 2 years to get it to this point where we might have an opportunity to vote upon it. I cannot exaggerate to you how saddened I am, how much I regret, and how surreal I find it that I stand here now and ask my colleagues, please vote no against my bill. Oppose the bill that I have worked so hard on for nearly 2 years. Its content prior to its arrival in rules have been laid out, commonsensical, codify the credit union advisory board, codify the small community bank advisory board, and create a non-bank advisory board for the appraisers, the title insurers, the real estate agents, escrow company, all people that the Bureau regulates and with whom they should have an iterative conversation going with respect to the proposed regulations. It wasn't easy getting here, even before rules. There was a lot of back and forth, a lot of compromising along the way. We had to allay fears from the consumer groups that this was a Trojan horse. We accepted amendments. We broadened the bill. We did a lot of things together. But with a collaborative spirit and the support of the ranking member, we did pass the bill out of committee 53-5. And then a torch was put to it. A torch was put to it. As has been described, the bill now includes a so-called pay-for amendment to lower the cap of available funds to CFPB by $45 million by the year 2020 and $100 million by the year 2025. It's bad policy, it's bad precedent, and it is completely unnecessary. The amendment was inserted under color of being a pay-for. Well, I've got a couple problems with that. The first is obvious. CBO projection is $9 million. We're talking about a cap that costs $45 million and $100 million. It's a multiple of it, or $75 to $100 million by last count. And the second, of course, is the fact about how the rule is applied, which has been heralded here and, in fact, genuflected as an important rule to provide for pay-fors when there are expenditures caused by proposed legislation. The motivation is frankly inscrutable to me. I honestly don't know how you do it with a straight face. Literally a matter of hours ago, voting for $300 billion with a B, with no pay-go or pay-for, and to stand up here today and say, well, we absolutely have to have a pay-for $9 million over 10 years, but $300 billion was okay. I say sincerely, I don't know how you do that with a straight face. Frankly, there's so much about this that I find surreal. Much in the debate was about questioned architectural practices by the agency, but the truth of the matter is GSA took over construction, 2+ years ago? If that's the issue, write an amendment to the GSA budget. Don't punish CFPB. It's been argued that this funding is unique, therefore it has to be curtailed, unrelated to the underlying purpose of the bill. Maybe that's true. Check the history. It was a Republican who wanted it funded by the Fed, Mr. Shelby, I believe. Maybe unique in that way. It's been suggested CFPB is non-budgeted, again, unrelated to the underlying purpose of the bill. Well, so guess what? So is every other bank, regulator, agency in the federal government, the FDIC, the OCC, the Fed itself, FHFA, and NCUA. They're all non-budgeted. But no, let's pick this one out of the pack and punish it. There is so much about this that is surreal to me. I believe that there's a bit of a trial underway here today, and we're laying a marker down on April 21st on whether or not we're actually going to be able to function in a bipartisan way. We did. It took hard work. 18+ months with Mr. Pittenger. 53-5 in committee. And now, as I say, we're putting a torch to it. We're going to decide, this is a test, are we going to use the CFPB as a piggy bank to pay for all other manner of agendas? Are we going to ask them to swallow this poison pill in the goal of getting bipartisan bill passed. It's a test of whether or not we're going to do that. It's an experiment to see how radically, and it is radical, we can change bills and still keep yes votes in the name of consistency, although there's certainly no consistency between the pay-fors provided in this proposed legislation and that for legislation that passed last week. And by the way, in addition to the estate tax and the sales and use tax, totaling over $300 billion, we did 2 CFPB bills last week too. Nobody offered pay-fors on those. So it isn't consistent. This is surreal. Standing here asking you to oppose the bill that I've worked so hard on with Mr. Pittenger. It is surreal. I'm reminded of my favorite passage in Alice Through the Looking Glass. If I had a world of my own, everything would be nonsense. Nothing would be what it is because everything would be what it isn't. And contrary-wise, what is, it wouldn't be. And what it wouldn't be, it would. You see? This is surreal. But I save my strongest assertion that what is the most sad about this, and I've said this in rules and I'm going to say it now, you know you're killing this bill. You're killing it and evidently don't care. 18 months of hard work out the window to do something good and worthwhile. But you know you're killing the bill. You know you're killing it because you're not passing here veto-proof, and the administration has, as the ranking member suggested, already issued the Statement of Administration Policy. I'll go one further. This bill will never see the light of day in the United States Senate. You're killing the bill that we worked on for 2 years to help non-bank businesses have a better structured, institutionalized relationship, which is as it should be. And you're doing it by inconsistently applying a House rule for which you grant waivers left and right when you were of a mind. This is good legislation. My friend from North Carolina has worked hard. And frankly, and I'll say it, he deserves better than this. This bill deserves better than this. The businesses that are regulated by CFPB deserve better than this, than to kill this bill, which is what you are assuredly doing. Vote no on my bill. Thank you very much.
The gentleman yields.